uh, O10 also. And as you just heard, we will be recording this webinar um, who by Stephen Casperite, who has been a longtime user of AI and is using it for his to create his SIP goals. And he's going to share some of his experience and wisdom with us. Stephen Casperite is the principal of Placer School for Adults and the director of the Sierra Joint Consortium. And I think we can just get started and turn it over to him.
Excellent. Thank you, Marianne. And good afternoon, California adult educators. That's my best Robin Williams right there from Radio Vietnam or whatever that movie was. Um, I am excited to share with you what I call my metadata thought partner. And that's really what AI is. It's a metadata thought partner. It will not do the thinking for you. It will not create without you. And even when it does create, it's not always exactly what you hoped for. I was thinking about this last night after waking up from a bit of a nightmare, and I was thinking of, oh, I was hallucinating. And I thought, oh, just like AI, it hallucinates. So lots of terms and thoughts. If you could in the chat, just briefly put, say hello, where are you from, and what's your comfort level with AI? Some may say, oh man, don't even ask me. Some may say, oh, I'm a pretty good user, so you may be able to teach us something. We are, as the title says, AI-powered precision drafting 2627 CIP SMART goals with Google Notebook LM. It is the last week of March. Well, that's not true. Next week there's 2 days, but it's close to the last week of March. That CIP plan is due. And I'm sure some people showed up to this webinar just going, oh, somebody please help me because I don't have much time left. And it's Easter break. So we're going to be using Google Notebook LM. There are dozens of tools out there. But the reason we're using Google Notebook LM is because the material you put into Google Notebook LM, you're actually creating a notebook, just like your old peaches that we used to have back in school. I'm kind of dating myself here, but it's your notebook. And the World Wide Web doesn't have access to this information. The only people that have access to it are those you share with. We'll talk more about that. But what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about partnering with AI to use Notebook LM to help you in your, and this is what I love the terminology. AI created this statement. It's your thinking assistant. We're going to talk about how you build and draft 3 compliant, high impact, oh, there's a big word, high impact SMART goals, and then how you work efficiently, streamline the process in this one focused workshop. So with that, and without further ado, I'm going to continue through. We only have 14 slides, but I have some tricks up my sleeve that I'm going to share with you, and I hope they're helpful. All right, from ideas to 3 SMART goals. That's a big task. 3 SMART goals seems like, oh, what's the big deal? 3 SMART goals. Well, by the time you look through and analyze the data you need to use, meet with partners, share with, teachers, coordinators, it's a big process. What are our key outcomes today? We're going to look at how Notebook LM um, analyzes your data that you share with it, how it builds 3 compliant goals. We're going to look at the streamlined workflow, so move faster while keeping your quality high. And that's what these metadata partners can do. And then this is the key, preserving judgment. Use AI to support, not replace professional expertise. This idea that AI is going to take over the world and do all these things for us, well, I'm working on a PhD in consciousness studies. That could be a long conversation we could have, but I highly doubt it's going to happen. You have to be in a body. And as far as I know, AI is not in a body. All right. practical demo. So I'm going to share two things with you. And this was created by Google Note LM because one of the things, Penny and I were just talking earlier, one of the things that we need to fully understand about learning is about getting your picture. And to this day, as much technology as we have, from neurological studies, we know that the best way humans get pictures is by hearing a story. So I'm going to share two forms of story with you. One's a podcast. It's an interactive podcast. Ooh, that's spooky. Ghost in the Machine, man alive. And the other I'm going to share with you is a video. Now, again, um, Marion and I had gone back and forth about this video that I created. I went and created another one. And AI is always going to take a direction that you lead it towards that might even be a little bombastic, and you might need to water that down a little bit. So that's something to think about when you're watching these generative tools that I use to create both this podcast and this video. So let's see what happens. Let's see if I'm smart enough to open this notebook. Let's see what happens. And if not, I've saved it down below as well. And I've also got it open somewhere else. There we go. Okay, now I need to share this screen. So let me stop sharing this screen and let me share my other screen now.
Steve, be sure to turn on share audio as well for the podcast.
Ah, thank you. See, all these things that we haven't quite gotten to where we think we've gotten to when it comes to technology. So I'm sharing, and then Penny, where do I share audio from? Go to more.
You should be able to do it on your share screen, but go to your red bar, for the where it says sharing Steven's site
Yep,
page, and it should be on those three little dots.
three little dots. There we
I hope
go.
I'm right.
Pause recording, hide video, share computer sound. And
Yep.
it's awesome. Look at that. Look at that.
Ta-da.
It took a human being to tell me that, not AI. Okay, here's the first thing I want to show you. Are you all seeing my AI powered precision drafting notebook? Is that what people are seeing? I hope.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Nancy Penny. All right. So first thing I want to share with you is, and I need to move you all. You're looking great there, but I need to move you over here. You don't know you got moved. All right. First thing I'm going to share with you is a podcast. And let me know if you can hear this.
You know that feeling when you're staring down a massive stack of performance data and you've got this blank continuous improvement plan for the 2026, 27 years sitting on your screen?
Yeah, I mean, usually fills people with absolute dread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, the average adult education agency over 30 hours of just sheer administrative writing to draft their CIP. 30 hours of committee meetings and some spreadsheets.
Right, which is just an incredible drain on resources.
It is. But what if, instead of dread, we approach this whole thing with this, well, let me ask, like, if we ask what stories are they actually trying to tell us?
I love that framing. It completely changes the energy in the room.
Right. So that's the mission of our deep dive today. We're exploring how you can use Google.
We're getting the audio pretty garbled.
Okay, I'm going to pause. So it's not coming across clear.
It just sounds garbly, so it's hard. You can't really understand what they're saying.
Well, that's a shame. That's a shame. Talking to my support people, is there anything that I need to do on my end, or is it just this is just the way it is?
Maybe try turning off your video and see if it was a bandwidth thing, Penny.
That might help, but I think Marjorie's on here too. But it sounds almost like you're taking the audio off of a speaker instead of your actual computer. And I'm not
Oh yeah,
sure.
maybe
Yeah.
stop and share, stop sharing and share again. And in
Yeah.
the when before you share, click share audio.
So go
Okay.
ahead and stop this share, and now go back and reshare. And on the right-hand side of that sharing screen, there is a button to say so share computer sound.
All
You
right.
see it?
See, go to share, and then
So did you see on the first when you actually click the button to share, Steve? Did
Oh,
you see a screen that offered you options for what you
no.
wanted to share?
But you know what I did find out? It was sharing in mono, so now it's sharing in stereo. I switched the sharing permission.
Let's try it again.
Try it, see what happens. This is the great thing about technology, is it's iterative. There's no mistakes. There's just learning processes. All right, let's try it again.
Jump. If I just dump a bunch of random PDFs into an
Much better.
AI, it doesn't magically know my school's culture, right?
No, not at all. You have to build a source of truth first. I mean, it's kind of like hiring.
Okay, I'm going to stop there for a minute. I'm going to go back to this tool and I'm going to show you Ghost in the Machine on an exponential level. So are we ready for this? Because, and the reason I'm sharing this with you is because let's say you have partners that you need to understand why you're creating these SIP goals, like WIB partners, the community college. Why not share a story with them that helps them understand what these CIP goals are about? And this was created in Google Note LM while I was creating those 3 SMART goals. So this is a tool that's available to you. So I'm going to do the Ghost in the Machine now. I'm going to do the interactive version. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to ask it to play audio. And I'm going to pause it just to ask to make sure you guys can all hear it.
You know that feeling when you're staring down a massive...
How's that sound? Does that sound good to everybody?
It's chips.
So far.
Okay, so watch this.
stack of performance data, and you've...
Oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Yeah, hi, I'm with the Community College District, and I'm trying to understand what the value is in creating these SMART goals.
Welcome. That is a fantastic and really fundamental question to start with.
Yeah, thanks for chiming in. It's actually the entire reason we're doing this deep dive.
If we look at the core value, it's about shifting from just reporting to actual strategic improvement.
Exactly. For the community college district, the value is translating all that raw, dense performance data like the NRS federal tables into something actionable.
SMART goals, because they are specific and measurable, give you the clear benchmarks. They transform a broad mission into a definite, trackable journey.
When we talk about how AI drafts these, it's not just...
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
Hey, thanks a lot. That really helps. Now I'll share this with my community college partners and get their feedback. So it's thinking.
You are very welcome. We are so glad that was helpful for you and your partners.
Absolutely. And we hope you share any feedback your partners have with us.
Because what we're about to dive in...
All right. So if that isn't freaky enough, there is a generative AI having a podcast that you can join, your partners can join. But there's some ramifications to all of this. Google Notebook LM lives within what I'll call a IT sphere. So I can only share this with people who are already in my Google sphere. They have to be part of either my organization or have access to my organization. Or if I'm using it out there in the public sector, they have to be one of my friends. So it's the only way it's shareable, because what it's trying to do is keep your data as private as possible to your needs. So last thing I'm going to share with you is a video I created, and I'm going to stop sharing now and go back to the original slide deck. And I'm going to share a slide deck with you that I created to just kind of summarize using Notebook LM. And we're going to go through it a few times, because when you tell a story, you have to iteratively tell the story over and over again for people to get the full picture. So let's see. So here we are. Let me go to my next slide. All right. And then let me make sure the sound is working properly on this. Yep, that's right. All right, we're going to watch a 6-minute video on using Notebook LM to create AI precision-driven SMART goals. Here we go.
Okay, so if you're an education professional, you know the drill. It's that time of year again. Time to craft the Continuous Improvement Plan, or CIP. It's this annual ritual of looking at all the data and trying to map out the future. But what if this year we could actually change that whole process from, a chore into a real strategic advantage? Let's get into it.
And it always starts right here,
You've got stacks of data, dozens of reports, and these super complex guidelines. It really is a mountain of information that you have to somehow synthesize into a plan that's not just compliant, but one that's actually going to work. I mean, let's be honest, it's pretty overwhelming. But what if this year could be totally different? What if you had a powerful new partner to help you sort through all that noise, find the really important stuff, and build a better plan way faster? So let's just call it what it is, the annual data mountain. The real work isn't just gathering all the data, right? It's turning all that complexity into a plan that actually moves the needle on improvement. It's a massive job, and that is exactly what we're going to tackle today. This is where your new strategic partner comes in. We're going to walk through how to use AI, not to replace your expertise, never that, but to act as this incredible thought partner that makes the entire process smarter and, honestly, a whole lot quicker. So, how does this actually work? Well, imagine a tool that can take all that scattered information, the data chaos, and just process it for you, helping you boil it all down into these focused insights and really, really clear goals. A fantastic tool for this is Google Notebook LM, and the key phrase to remember here is that it's grounded in your documents. See, this is not some generic AI just scraping the whole internet. It's a dedicated assistant that only knows what you teach it, using your agency's data and your guidelines. And of course, your professional judgment is always the final, most important step. All right, let's get practical. Step 1 is all about building that foundation. Because look, an AI partner is only as good as the information you feed it. This first step is absolutely crucial. You have to start by building its knowledge base. That means you're uploading your most important documents, the official CIP guide, your NRS performance tables, all those data integrity reports, and even the qualitative stuff like teacher assessments. This collection becomes the AI's single source of truth. And here's why that's such a game changer. By feeding it these specific, verified documents first, you basically guarantee that every single suggestion or analysis it gives you back is perfectly aligned with your agency's requirements and your actual real-world data. Okay, so once that foundation is solid, we get to move on to the main event, using our AI partner to leap from that raw data to crafting some seriously well-written, compliant, smart goals. And really, it all comes down to giving it a great prompt. Just look at how specific this is. You're not just vaguely asking for a goal. You're telling it the current number, the target number, the exact deadline, and you're even asking it to include checkpoints and strategies. This is how you guide the AI to create exactly what you need. So that all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work? Well, let's take a look at a real-world example from the Placer School for Adults. This really shows just how powerful this whole method can be. So check this out. The goal is specific. Go from 82.71% to 85%. It's measurable. Track it with monthly reports. It's attainable, backed up by clear strategies like PLCs and teacher training. It's relevant since it hits a key performance metric. And it's time-bound by the end of the program year. I mean, boom, every single box is checked. So once you have that first draft, you're not done. You enter what I like to call a rapid refinement loop. And it starts with your expertise. You take that AI-generated goal and you hold it up against the official CIP rubric and ask, how does this thing really stack up? Then you go right back to your AI partner. It's a conversation. You can ask it to make things clearer, to strengthen the metrics, or even to brainstorm more effective strategies. You're basically using it to polish the draft and make it shine. And the final step in this loop is all about alignment. You benchmark your newly refined draft against proven model goals. This makes sure it's not just a quality goal, but that it's also structurally consistent, which is key for compliance. Look, a great goal is, well, it's just the beginning, right? What really matters is a plan you can actually execute. So now, let's use that same AI partner to build the roadmap and turn these goals into action. You can use... Okay, so if...
All right, so here we go. We're going to take a deep breath. That's a lot of information. It's a video. I told you a story. You got to see a podcast. One of the things that happens in the modern world is we just throw you with like a fire hose information. So we're going to go back through all of that one step at a time. And then we're going to, at the end, we're going to go back into my Google Notebook, and I'm going to actually show you how I've put the inputs in and then how I have to create, because remember, that garbage in, garbage out. I have to give it the inputs, and then I have to script what I want it to do. And here's a little side fact. So all these AI companies that are popping up all over the place, well, they're laying off computer program engineers. And guess who they're hiring? Are you ready for this? Liberal arts majors. Why? Because liberal arts majors know how to script a prompt, how to ask a question, how to think critically. So it's almost like we've gone full circle. Technology was everything, and now all of a sudden, oh, you need critical skills. Where does that come from? Comes from the liberal arts education. All right, so here we go. The foundation of your CIP source material. Here's the first thing you're going to want to download. And you can get this right off the WIO website if you haven't already downloaded it. And that's on WIOA, your website. You go into CIP plan, you open that up, and it gives you this guide, the 2627 CIP guide. Why do you need that? Because that's the framework. That's the official framework. Without that, Google Note LM is going to try to be scratching and guessing what it is you're working with. So I'm setting up that first official framework. Yes, it's got the rubrics, submission requirements. So that's the first thing I'm going to load. Then I'm going to go into TOPS, or I'm going to have my data person go into TOPS, and they're going to pull my NRS federal tables. Now, there's a key here. People go, well, which NRS federal tables? I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the screen where it says, use verified data. Only work from final version sources. That means your 24, 25 data. Because if you go into this data, it's not final right now. We're in flow. So you can use that data. You can put it in there. You can put both in there, 24, 25, 25, 26. You can even, I put in our previous CIP goals, but we'll talk about that later. So you're going to go into your NRS federal tables, and you're going to pull out your performance data across all functional levels. That's tables 4 and 4B. That means your ESL program, your ABE program, your ASE program, all of them. And then you're going to pull your data integrity reports, your verified TE reports that support accurate goal setting. So there's your first 3 pieces of data that you're going to note, you're going to add to. And what you want to do is you want to download it into a Word doc or a PDF. Notebook LM will take either. And then you're going to, and I'll show you how you're going to put it in. Key implementation tips, prioritize context, upload these documents first because they're the foundation. Define your frameworks, align AI with SMART goal requirements. So that's how you're going to start to script your SMART goals. And then use verified data. All right. Do we have any questions in the chat? I'm not paying attention to it. Just I wanted to stop and see if there's any questions or if I can keep moving forward. Sounds like no, we're good. All right. And I promise you at the end, we'll go back through all of these steps one more time. I'll show it to you in Google Notebook LM itself. So here's step 1, build your knowledge base. Create a dedicated notebook in Google Notebook LM. Every notebook you create is for a specific purpose. So once you give it the information, it'll create its own title for you. It'll take the information, it'll go, oh, this is about creating a SMART goal. And again, 2627 CIP guide, full PDF, NRS federal tables 4 and 4B. And here's some more information. We're going to add teacher self-assessment data because you want to get feedback from your teachers. So you should be giving those teacher self-assessment data. You should be getting that from your teachers. You should already have that. Your student technology intake survey. Why are we pulling that? One of the goals is a technology goal, right? And that student technology intake survey tells you, do your students have access to technology? Do they have access to, do they need support for getting access to Wi-Fi? Do they need a MiFi? All that information is important as you shape that technology goal. And it also gives you relevant qualitative data. All right. So now we're going to move on to the prompting for data insights. So these are the prompts that they're given to you right here. So use AI to analyze your CIP data against state targets and surface the most important improvement opportunities. So here's the first prompt. Identify performance gaps. Use your NRS Table 4 to pinpoint EFLs that fall below state targets. That's an actual prompt. You're going to ask Google Note LM. Use the NRS Table 4 to pinpoint EFLs that fall below state targets. it will pull those state targets and it will go, okay, this is where you sit in relationship to those EFL gains for state targets. Okay, wow, we're below. State levels are at EFL gains at 42 or 47%, and we're at 38%. Sounds like a SMART goal might be there. Then you're going to analyze trend patterns, compare multi-year persistence rates to uncover actual trends. So when you say compare multiple, and this is got to pay attention to the prompt, compare multi-year persistence rates. Well, that means you've got to put multi-year data in there. So you need to put in the last 3 years of your data reports on persistent rates to uncover actionable trends. And it's going to do it for you. It's going to take that information. It's going to go, oh, year 20 something, you had this many persisters. Then it dropped. Then it came up. Oh, here's an actionable goal area. And then finally, how do I align all of this with state priorities? Evaluate my data against the Minding the Gaps and Partnerships initiatives. And that's in the actual plan that's shared with you. You can also go out, ask it to go out to the internet and pull in that information as well. All right. All right, drafting SMART performance goals. So using the SMART framework that we've created, and that actually exists in the handout in WIOA, reference Appendix D, SMART Goal Worksheet for Structure. This gives Google Notebook LM specifically what are they looking for in a SMART goal. It gives them this is the actual worksheet. This is what it looks like. Model your drafts after the statewide SMART goal. You're telling it that. Model my SMART goals after the statewide SMART goal. The state's given you a model. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to look at it and AI is going to create something. You're going to go, that doesn't quite fit our school. That doesn't quite fit our needs. So then you got to go back and prompt it again. And I'll show you what that looks like. Finally, create an effective prompt example. And here's what I write. I type in there into the bar on Google Note LM. I write, draft a SMART goal to increase persistence from whatever your current rate is. And you can put a year in there from this year to target a 5% increase by June 30, 2027, including monthly data checkpoints and improvement strategies. And this is key, including monthly data checkpoints. And that's what Note LM is going to do for you. It's going to create monthly data checkpoints. It'll create an actual plan. And then it'll say, and improvement strategies. How are we going to improve? And it will actually give you a draft. You may agree with that. You may disagree with that. Remember, this is for your use. So you're not just going to take what it generates. You're going to say, does that fit what we're trying to accomplish here? Because if it doesn't, then what's the point of the goal? All right, so quality assurance benchmarking. Use the AI, this is it again, as a critical thinking partner, or what I call a meta partner, to evaluate your draft, because meta means it's pulling in all the data you're giving it. To evaluate your draft against the CIP Guides Appendix B rubric. Boom. Now self-evaluation. Check the SMART alignment. Does it align to what your school is really trying to accomplish? Confirm the specificity. Say that 3 times fast. And measurability. AI created the goal for me, but is that really specific enough for us? Is it really measurable for us? Who's going to be measuring it? And this is where it's going to get really interesting. We'll talk about it in a minute. Who's measuring this? Who's looking at this? Use Appendix B as the standard. And these are all prompts you can use. You can take them right off the script. Refinement. Identify weak points in the goals. How it fits for your school. Strengthen the components and revise for clarity. So you can see this is not a one and done. This is do over and over and over again. This slide deck I created using AI, but it took me 5 iterations to get it to the quality I needed it to be to share with all of you. Finally, alignment. Compare with model goals.
어?
김밥 2개 싸면 되지?
어.
한 개 8개 있을 때 16개.
어.
Okay. We okay? All right. Crafting your technology goals. So one of your goals has to be a technology goal. Great. Let's take a look. So again, we already uploaded that data from the students on technology use. So there's a key requirement right there because that's going to allow us to look at barriers. You can even type in, many of our students do not have access to the internet. That's a barrier. You can type that in while you're refining this goal. Leverage resources like OTAN or Digital Leadership Academy. Those are those resources to help train your teachers, help train your staff, because that's required in your goal to look at how are we implementing this and what supports are we going to be using. Finally, drafting the strategy, summarize survey findings to pinpoint engagement gaps, define your metrics and outline tracking methods. You've got all this. We've gone through this already, so I'm going to move on to finally, here we go, building your action plan. This has actually got prompts written in it that can be directly used in Google Note LM. So use AI to turn your SMART goals into executable. You can actually do this. So here's a prompt, generate strategies. Suggest 5 strategies, including data reviews and PD activities for each goal. Suggest 5 strategies, including data reviews and PD activities. And what you're going to find in Google Note LM is as you're drafting this, it's going to give you prompts like this. It's going to say, here's 3 prompts that might be helpful while you're creating these goals. And it may even come up with that. And you say, yes, please. Boom, it does it. Assign roles. This is key. Map each strategy to specific staff roles and responsibilities. So you might need to tell it who all is a part of this plan. My counselors, my CIP, my assistant principal, my data tech. You might need to help it with that. Define metrics. Create measurable indicators for each strategy's success. So that's a prompt. Give me measurable indicators. That's what happens. I see a lot of times when people are creating SMART goals, they don't have measurable indicators. And that's a tough one. And finally, the review. You've got to review and within the timeline and framework that you have. Now let's talk about working with others. So I would have a small group of people start the process of putting this information together. And then I would, once you've created that first iterative draft, bring in all your partners. I've done that with my team and have them take a look at and use all those critical thinking skills. More heads are better than one. And say, hey, take a look at these SMART goals we've created. Does this reflect our school? Does this reflect our students? Looking at the data, this is what we get, but does this reflect our unique community? So you're going to bring in those team members to take a look at what you've crafted so far. You don't need everybody in the room to bring this in. Now, you're going to want pieces from them, but in the end, you want to craft it and then bring them in to look at it and go, how does this look? And they're going to give you feedback. Educators, they bring frontline experience, the curriculum knowledge, the student needs that need to live in the plan. If we're not addressing student needs, if we're just compliance oriented, then the goal is no good for us, no good to us. Data coordinators, bring those folks in. We brought our data coordinators in. They looked at the SMART goals that I created for this year, and they're like, well, I don't know how that's completely measurable. I was like, oh, no, now we got to go back and look at it again. And finally, and this is where you can use those podcasts, community partners. Share with them what you're doing. Create a podcast and share it with them and say, this is what we're working on. And if you don't do it for this year's CIP, create it anyways and share it out for them going into next year because you're going to have to create new goals next year. So create that podcast and say, hey, listen to this podcast about why we're putting this energy into creating these CIP goals. All right. Here we go, collaborative review. AI does the heavy lifting, so you can focus on the discussion. I even use AI when I'm having team meetings to take notes and then summarize the notes for us. Initial data review. Review AI-generated insights and raw data to identify the key areas that you're using as your goal setting. Have those collaborative drafting sessions. Bring your team in and say, let's take a look at these goals that have been created. Get that peer review and feedback. Team members give constructive feedback. Does this really make sense? Does this really align with our school? And finally, the consensus and finalization. You reach that team consensus. Yes, our goals are refined. AI helped us shape all of this. Now you can input this into your WIOA CIP plan. You're golden. You've met the April 30th or 31st deadline. I don't know if it's 31 days in April. And you're going, wow, that was actually kind of fun. I can't wait to do this again next year. I'm sure people are on there going, sure, Steve. All right. So again, these are the total, this is the overall picture. Final review and submit with confidence. Verify the data, validate your SMART goals, submit by April 30th deadline. There it is. You got to schedule that internal review. All right, we're going to go to new Google Notebook LM now. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to share you what I've created and how I went about creating it. All right, let's see if I can get to the right page. There we go. Here I am screen sharing. Okay, now I need to move over. All right, so I'm going to go out to the very beginnings of Notebook LM. So this is my notebook. And as you can see, I I've created a lot of notebooks. I've created notebooks for senior school administrative interviews, everything under the sun. Sorry, I've got names that shouldn't be visible. Um, so I've used it for everything under the sun. Constant change, history of American adult education. I've got all kinds of notebooks, but what I want to look at is the Adult Education Continuous Improvement Plan. So over here on my left, if you can see my cursor, is all the sources, and there's plenty more. This was just to narrow it down so you can see it. So these are the sources I've put in here. The continuous improvement plan, this was our 26-27 working doc, so I cheated a little bit. Our continuous improvement plan SMART goals for 25-26, because why not look at those previous SMART goals? Do you need to recreate the wheel, or can you improve on last year's SMART goals? This is the NRS tables from 24-25. You could put 25-26 in there. Excuse me, from 20, yeah, you could put 25-26, but just know that they're not complete because you haven't ended the year. And then this is our DIR report for 24-25. So these are, and I'm going to show you how you add them. So you go to add sources right here. So I go to click add sources, and it's going to ask me, where are you getting these sources from? Are they coming from the web? You can go to the web and pull sources down if you're not sure where that information was. Or these are upload files. So these are coming from your hard drive. Or they could be coming from your, Microsoft Office. You can download websites. I've used my drive a lot, so I can bring it from my drive. And then here's where, if we've already started to create a document for our SMART goals, I can just say copy text if I want to and put it in here. So I click on one of those, and then it will prompt me to either put in copy text, it'll go to my drive, physically go to my drive, or if I say upload files, it'll actually go to my files. So they're different environments, and it will find that information for me. So that's how I begin the process of uploading all my information to go over here. And there's my information. And then I've already created, but I'm gonna, let me see if I can go back to this and open up what my prompts were. What it's done here is it's already created, so it's not showing the actual prompts. So I'm gonna go back here, I'm gonna start typing, and I'm gonna say, here I go. With the uploaded data, please help me, and I always treat it like it's a human being. That's funny. Please help me. Please help me to create 3 updated CIP, because it's going to know that language because I've already uploaded that language. Smart. Oh, let's capitalize that. Smart. Good thing about this is it knows that I'm not smart enough to put in the right terms. Smart goals for our 26, 27 CIP plan and add to it timelines, data checks, and who is responsible. All right, let's see what happens. It's reading my inputs. Yay! It's looking at my sources. Here we go. Based on the provided data and specific requirements of the 26-27 continuous improvement plan. How does it know what the specific requirements are? Because I uploaded the continuous improvement plan SMART goal from my previous years, and I forgot to add, I did not add the resource. I spoke about it, but I did not add it, but the actual resource from WIOA. But there it is. It says, here's goal 1, student persistence, NRS persistent report, goal statement by June 30, 2027. Placer School for Adults will increase its overall percentage of persisters as reflected on the NRS persister report from the 25-26 targets to 87% for agency 5856, up from 85%. So tell me what my previous was. What was my baseline? It's going to increase. And 83% for agency 5961, up from 80%. So I have two agencies. I have an inmate education agency and my non-inmate. That is a SMART goal. It's actionable. It has timelines. It tells me what it is I'm trying to accomplish. And then here's the key action steps. It just outlined it for me. Review persistence report. Monitor students moving from 1 to 12 plus hours to address the 39.67% gap identified in the DRR. Woo! It's already pulled that information for me. Wait a minute, look at that. And then it goes over here and it says, when are they going to do it? They're going to do it monthly. Who's responsible? Data team, admin, and registrars. What's the timeline? Ongoing, July, June. Barrier. Identify students, why students, so here's barriers. Why students exist early and develop reduction strategies. And student check-ins, use the Remind app and go for it to conduct follow-ups. And that's pulling language from my previous plan. And then here's goal 2, and then here's goal 3. Now let me show you something that's wonderful. Look at this, down below, it gives you new prompts. How do we conduct the 3 formal goal reviews? You can click on that and it will add it to the plan. Which local priority industry sectors should we focus on first? So now it's going to look for those local industry sectors that tie into your plan. So that workforce readiness. And then finally, what resources, here's a shout out to OTAN, CalPro is in there too somewhere. What resources does OTAN offer for the high flex model? Because that's part of our technology goal. And then it gives me, here's my administrative timeline for self-monitoring. Checkpoint 1, October 26th, review initial enrollment. Then it goes on to checkpoint 2, evaluate mid-year EFL gains. Checkpoint 3, final data review for the April 30 CIP submission and preparation for next year. Oh. And then all you have to do is go down here, see this little square right here? And you can tell it. I can say, format this to be copied into a Google Doc. Because now I'm going to share this with my team. So I put that in there. It's getting the context, reading everything. It's thinking. It's that metadata partner who's doing all that heavy lifting for me. Here we go. This is formatted, so all I have to do is copy and paste it. And so this is just level 1. This is the beginning. And then I go down here, and this is key. If I get interrupted and I have to go do something, and I'm going to get off my computer, you've got to save to note. Because when I do that, look what happens over here on the right. It just saved the plan. If you don't do that, you go away and your screen goes to sleep or your computer reboots, your work will disappear. So once you save it to note, not this work over here, but this right here, because this is temporary. It's currently working with you. It's partnering with you. So once you say, yeah, this looks good, save it to note. There it is. And now you can take this and move it over here and use it iteratively to update. And now I can take this and copy and paste this into, I can say copy, then I can open up a Google Doc and I can paste this directly into a Google Doc so that now I can share this with my team and say, give me your input on this information. And what you'll notice here is you'll notice these little tags right here. These little tags are tied to the information I already shared with it. So it's like APA formatting. It's almost telling you, where did you get this information from? It's telling you, where did you find this information? All right, I'm going to pause for just a second, deep breath, a lot of information. How's everybody doing? And it's quiet, crickets. It's a good thing I like to talk to myself. All right.
So I have a question, Stephen. How did you get it to format the action plan in the same format that's in the SIP that people are filling out?
So you can tell it to do that, but what you have to do is you have to make sure to upload the SIP document that shows you, because in the SIP document in WIOA, that will actually tell you how everything is going to be uploaded into CIP.
It just found that by itself out of the whole instructions document.
Exactly. It's
Nice.
just right out of there. I mean, it's like paste and copy. Now it's in a Google Doc and I just paste and copy it. And it'll ask you, do you like this? Thumbs up. No, I don't like this response. You hit a thumbs down, it's going to reiterate it for you. And then I'm just for fun, kicks and giggles, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go over to the tools that are available to you. So now, if you follow my cursor, it can create a video overview for you, just like I did. That's that video overview I showed you guys. Now that takes time. So once you click on that, you need to walk away and go do something else because it's going to take time for it to create that. But it can also create a slide deck for you so you can share with your team. This is what our CIP looks like. This is what we've worked on. It can create the audio overview for you. That's the podcast, the interactive podcast that's two people talking to each other. Hey, let's talk about the CIP plan. How fascinating. Finally, if you're using it for other things, if your teachers are using it, you can create a mind map so that they can follow your logic. And then if you want your staff to really understand what you're doing, you can create a quiz. Okay, I'm going to quiz you on creating the CIP plan so that you next year can participate with us. You can create infographics, data tables, reports, flashcards, blah, 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 blah. It's a fascinating tool and a fascinating world we're living in. But again, I want to be really clear. This does not alleviate the human who has to put in the information, check the information critically, share with each other. So it takes time. So if you're going to use this notebook LM and you're going to get started on it, next week is Easter break. Whoever's in charge, start uploading the data and work on it. So when everybody comes back, schedule those meetings, start looking at the CIP plan that you're creating. And then when it gets to those CIP reviewers, they're going to go, whoa, who are these people that created these beautiful SMART goals that actually make total sense? And I'm going to give them 100% and move them forward. But you can't just let AI do the work for you. You have to interject because if you do, every SMART plan is going to look exactly the same across the state. And then we're going to get a little suspicious, at least the state people, the audit. They're going to go, wait a minute. So we don't want to ruin a good thing. All right, I'm going to open up to some questions, and then if there's any follow-up, and I want to tell you, you can do the same thing that I just did with Google Notebook LM using Google's AI tool, or you can use Microsoft Office's Smart Tool Copilot. What I've done is I've taken the plan once I've created it, and I've put it onto a Google Doc. Then I'll go, because this isn't private information, this is public information. I'll go to Copilot and I'll upload this plan to Copilot. It's the same thing. It has a plus mark. You hit the plus mark. It says, what do you want to upload? You tell it where you're finding it. And you say, evaluate my CIP plan based on the California 2627 CIP goal requirements. Now it's going to pull information from the web. and it's going to pull SMART goals that have been written by other people using the tool, and it's going to go, and this is what's really cool. It's going to tell you where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are. You can do that here too, but there you're using the World Wide Web, and it's going to give you some more feedback on your actual plan. And then you can tell it once it's done that, you can say, okay, help me fix this. Bum, 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 bum. And then you can tell it, okay, now draft in a Google Doc format or Word or for the CIP plan, format it so I can copy and paste. And that's what it'll do for you. AI, a new, brave new world. All right, do we have any questions in the chat? When it's nice and quiet like this, I always think, man, I either spoke really well or I put them to sleep. My grandson would say, I put you to sleep.
I think it's there's a lot of thinking going on right now
Oh,
and
yeah.
digesting. And Francisco said he's trying to figure out how to do this with Copilot.
Oh, so would you like me to, just for the few minutes we have left, go into Copilot and show
Yes,
you
please.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. So let me
See, it pays to ask a question.
open up, and now I need to stop sharing because I need to reshare. One day AI is going to say, oh, you want to share something else? Oh, great, we'll move you over to that next screen. But we're not there yet. Okay, so now I'm going to open up, there it is. Okay, so here we are. I'm in my Microsoft screen, and here's Copilot. You can see I've already, I've been using it. So with Copilot, you go down here to the message screen. You see where my cursor is? And you go down here and you go to the plus sign and you click on that. You have to have already created your document. And this is where you add documents. And so you're going to add a file. I'm not going to actually do it. But that's where you would add your files. And once you add your files, it'll start going, okay, okay, what do you want? What do you want? And it's the same thing. Use the same prompts I just gave you and the files I created. Download your NRS tables, download your persistor rates, download the WIOA guidelines for creating the CIP, and even download in a downloadable form your last year's CIP goals. Add all those to this, and then here's where you write the prompt. You write, help me to create my 26-27 California State CIP goals based on the data I've shared with you. And that's exactly what it will do. And it'll create it here. I can open up this window further. Let me open up this window further. It'll create it here for you. And then once it creates it, you can tell it to format it the way you want it formatted. And it's going to ask you all kinds of questions, just like this does here. This is something I was working on for something else. And it says, next steps, would you like me to? And it'll create all these prompts for you. Just remember, this is public facing information. Google Notebook LM is kept private into your notebook, but that's okay. If you don't have access to the Google world, use Copilot. It's a great tool and it works well. Francisco, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Copilot's great. Copilot is actually more powerful, not because Note LM isn't powerful. It's more powerful because it's going out to the World Wide Web and pulling information in. And that's why you have to do two things. You have to be really critical with it, and you have to be critical thinking about what you're doing because it can hallucinate because it's pulling in it's so much metadata. So that's how you use Copilot. I've done the same thing with Google's, I can't remember Google's Gemini. I've done the same thing with Gemini, and I will tell you, this is just a little, this is for Otan Anthony to look into. Um, Gemini is now created what are called gems. And gems are where you can create your own individual AI for your projects that lives for the purpose of just working on. So you could create a CIP plan gem that every year you would go back to it, that gem, and it would help you recreate next year's CIP goals based on the data and stuff like that. So it's getting really wild out there.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, Notebook LM is kind of, we are sure that it's gonna use the information that I uploaded only. It's not gonna go out there and then find something else in other place. But if I use Copilot or Gemini,
Yes.
can I have that assurance, or should I assuming that it's gonna go out of other data or the information it already has gonna add it to it?
Well, this is so the answer to your question is yes and yes. So if you use this little plus and you upload the specific documents and you tell it using these documents, now what it will do is it will supplement. So it'll say, oh, your documents are great, but here's some more information. So it will do both. Does that make sense?
Yes. So if I use Copilot or Gemini, it's gonna get some from other source. But if
Yes.
I use Notebook LM, it's gonna be just only the source I provided.
Yeah, and you can tell both Gemini and Copilot. You can specifically use only the sources I've uploaded, and it'll do that.
Oh, okay.
I can hear it in the background going, "Oh, but there's so much more I could share with you," but that's neither here nor there. And it might even give you a prompt. This is great, but I can also offer you this information because it's meant to generate. All right. Are there any other questions? We are approaching the top of the hour. This has been a lot of fun. I wish we were in person so I could talk to all of you. I hope this has been helpful. And there's
Steve?
more. Yes.
There is a question from Kim Reed in the chat. When you add a new source to Google Notebook, do you
Yes.
have to recreate your document or will it update it automatically?
So it's both. So it will start to update because you've created a new document. And let me go back to Notebook LM real quick while we have a minute, because I need you to see something. So let me go back, stop share, let me reshare, and let's see if I can do this quickly. So going back to Note LM. So something I didn't say that I need to bring to your attention. So you see my sources over here? Well, there's checkboxes. If I decide that I don't want a source to be used, I uncheck it. So now it's unchecked everything. So now I go back and check the sources I want to use. And if I bring in a new source, it'll automatically check it. And I can uncheck other sources. And then it will update in the prompt here. But I can also tell it, okay, now with this new information, add that information to my current plan and update it. And it'll do that for you. All right. Any other questions?
Thank you very much. This
Oh,
has been, speaking of fire hoses, we've gotten a lot of information in an hour, and a lot of people got their questions answered, and we appreciate your attendance. And thank you all for being here. And thank you, Stephen. It
oh,
was definitely an iterative process. You have to really, when he sent me his first slides and his video, I was like, no, 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 no. And so I wrote back and I said, could you get your digital thinking assistant to change this, this, and this? And I can see that all that was done probably quite quickly. So thank you for that.
oh no, it was fun. It was so fun to have other eyes on the product. And that's the beauty of us humans. AI is just a generative tool. We need the human effect. Never going to be without it. So thank you, everybody. Have a great
Thank you.
break.
Thank you.
Marjorie, anything else?
Nope. Thank you all for coming. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
weekend. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.